Welcome to Martini time, the happy time of the day. It's been kind of cloudy here, raining, drizzly. Feels like November here in Virginia. But it doesn't feel like that way inside. I've been warmed up by Izzys Fire. But I also feel like, let me get a sip of my martini. It's no good to gas up if you don't put the gas in the engine. So, I've been on fire today by Izzys Fire, and I wanted to share that with you. I also feel like I like Rachel Maddow, and she always comes to the news like, I've got a big story to share for you. You know, this is a lot in the news today, and so, oh boy, you just want to listen, you know. So I come kind of like that, you know. I'm fired up by Izzys Fire, and I also, a friend of mine came over and gave me this letter opener that he found in his, that was my uncle's, that he had left in a piano seat. And it was my uncle's letter opener, and he gave it to me, a little silver letter opener. And I've been opening letters of insight all day with this. It's been really great. The more I hold it, the more insight I get. So let me share with you what Izzys Fire is. I wrote about this on my blog this morning and on my Facebook page. So this will fit into that. But last night we went to a Friends of the Library Literary Guild meeting my wife is part of, and they had they hosted an author called Nancy Beasley, and she had written some 2 books on the survivors of the Holocaust in Lithuania. The first one was Izzys Fire, and the second one was The Little Lion. And I went to the meeting last night, and you know, I wasn't really engaged. I sat, the seat was hard, and that's all right. But I sat there and I listened to the talk of this lady. She's in her 70s, and she gave a kind of an autobiographical talk about how she came upon the writing of Izzys Fire, which she wrote in her 60s. I mean, this was no early. This was a late bloomer here, and it changed her life. So anyway, she had a slideshow and talked and everything, and I don't remember being engaged or not engaged. I was kind of like in an intermediate zone. And I didn't even go up and speak to her afterwards. And when it was over, I helped my wife collect the food and went home and did my stuff, and that was it. And I didn't think about it anymore. And this morning I got up and I was writing on Facebook, and I didn't think about it anymore. But then I was looking down at a bookmark that I picked up from her table, and this is of course it's backwards, Izzys Fire, and that's one of the survivors, and it says under it, Finding Humanity in the Holocaust. And something just snapped. Something just something opened. The Holocaust, finding humanity how in the world can you find humanity? How can you find life? How can you find the positive in the Holocaust, in death? Now, you see, the Holocaust is kind of like a symbol or a metaphor for everyone dies. When we had a cat and it would get fleas, I would go get what I would call the Holocaust pill, because you gave that cat the pill and it killed all the fleas. But it wasn't permanent. I mean, they'd come back, but it wiped them out. Holocaust. Nothing left. You know, nothing left, you see. So that is the whole, and I've realized life is the Holocaust. Life is death. We're not going to get out of this alive. We're all lined up. You know, the Lithuanian Jews, the Germans, they didn't, in the early part of the war, they just shot them. So they would have them dig a trench, and they would get in the trench and they would shoot them. And then they would line up and march another line and then shoot them, you know. And it was like a methodical death march. Boom, line them up. Boom, boom, line them up. Everybody dies. Round them up, everybody dies, you see. And that's what life is. That's the horror of horror. That's what life is. When I watched Apocalypse Now, and then I read the book, The Heart of Darkness, for some reason I was fascinated with. I had to watch that movie again, and then I had to read the book. And Kurtz, the fella in both of the stories, goes beyond the pale. He goes upstream of civilization. He goes up to the source of the Ganges. He goes up to Shiva himself. He goes up to Shiva. Where is my Shiva? I moved it. But Shiva is the destroyer, the creator and the destroyer. Both at once, you see. So the Holocaust. We're all in the Holocaust. We're all going to die. Nobody gets out alive. And we're all lined up waiting for the Nazi death to shoot us. We never know when we're going to get shot, you see. I could drop dead during this talk. You could drop dead while you're listening to it. You could be shot by a Nazi, metaphorically speaking. You see my point? We're all living with that, but we don't accept it. You say, oh no. We separate life. We separate Shiva. We separate the creator from the destroyer. We separate the positive from the negative, like this battery. This is the positive. This is the negative. This is life. This is death. We separate it. But we can't, when we're making a battery, we don't, or it wouldn't work. So we wonder why life doesn't work. Well, it's because we're separating life from death. And we're holding them apart, you see. Oh, just give me life. No death, you see. Death's bad. Life's good. Positive's good. I'm going to stab myself with this thing if I don't put it down. You see, life's good. Positive's good. Negative's bad. You see, we separate the negative. We separate the polarity. We separate the ambiguity, you see. But life isn't separated. Life is whole. So we're trying to find the wholeness by separating it. We can't do it. We try to find the whole hog by cutting it up. We live life as a butcher. We cut everything up into parts, thinking that this part is the whole part. So we got the wrong logic. We're using the analysis and intellect can't find the whole. So the Holocaust, you see. And so anyway, Izzys Fire is really about, it's ambiguous in the sense that Izzys Fire is about the author, Mary Beasley, and it's about the books she wrote, and it's about the story of these Lithuanian Jews who survived the Holocaust because somebody put them in a basement or a hole, you see, and these children, they escaped, and they're all grown up now, and you can find them, and they're telling the story, but all that's subjective. So the subject, you and I, you're still separate from that. We're watching this story, you see. And that's because, well, the Holocaust happened in time. It was the Nazis did it. Or if the mass shooter comes and shoots 50 people, that's kind of like a mini Holocaust. You see, that's kind of like a mini Nazi, a mini Holocaust. When the mass shooter tries to kill as many people as he can, use a mini Holocaust, you see. But that's subjective. Oh no, that's bad. Well, of course it is bad, but I'm saying that we're outside of it, you see. But what happens when we are the Holocaust? Well, when the doctor calls you and says you have terminal cancer, that's your Holocaust. I'm going to die. The Nazi's going to shoot me. I'm marching down into the trench and I'm going to be shot. You see? So what's Izzys Fire? Izzys Fire for this author and for the book is to find the fire in the death, to find the life in the death. Not separated from it, but in it. You can't separate the death from the life and find life, because if you separate death from life, you kill it. So we get roses, fresh roses, life. Then they wilt, they die, the Holocaust. Oh, that's terrible. Let's have plastic flowers. So we get plastic flowers, and silk flowers. Somebody gave my wife some. They look really good. Are they real? Well, something's missing. They don't die. It's like the end of the Seinfeld series. They're sitting in the jail, repeating their script for a year, over and over, saying the same. Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is Groundhog Day because it can't die. It can't change. It's stuck, you see. It's separated from death. Death is change. Death is change. Of course, death is real change, and it's scary because you don't know what it changes into. But life is always dying. Life feeds on life. Lions eat lambs. Lambs eat grass. Everybody eats everybody. When we die, the worms eat us. Some cultures, Indian, Native Americans, they put the body up on a staff and let the vultures eat it. Returns the cycle, you see. So we break the cycle when we break life from death. And when we break the cycle, life then begins to go in a tape loop. It stops its flow. It stops its living and turns into a river circling. It turns into the Ouroboros, the snake devouring itself. That's because we've divided ourselves out of fear, you see. So this Izzys Fire, I've just been struck by that, and basically it's ambiguous. It's understanding and accepting ambiguity. If you can't accept ambiguity, then you're going to divide everything into clear and distinct things. Life is this, death is that, and they're not the same. All right, that's the law of identity. This is the law of machines. It's the law of form. Everything is this, not that. But when it comes to life, it's ambiguous. Life is death, death is life. Love is hate, hate is love. Up is down, down is up, you see. Everything is a coin. Everything flips, you see. Life, death. Separate, nothing. Put them together, music, you see. So we've lost the music to life. We've lost the fullness of life. We've lost Izzys Fire because we have tried to escape the Holocaust. We have tried to avoid the Holocaust and our mortality and the knowledge that death is our co-pilot, that death is always standing behind us like a Nazi, ready to shoot us. We never know at what moment he's going to pull the trigger, you see. So when we come to Izzys Fire, we realize that there is no escape from that. There's no avoidance of that. You can't run and hide. You can't manipulate it. You can't trick it. You can't bury it. You can't burn it. You can't do anything to death. It's beyond manipulation and control. And so is life. So life and death are beyond control, but we try to control it in order to avoid what? Death. So we end up in a tape loop, spinning our wheels. Why can't we get going? Why isn't the boat moving? Why are we stuck? Let me give it more gas. The tape loop speeds up. You've seen somebody stuck a couple of years ago, a guy in his nice big V8 truck, powerful, and the grass was muddy and he got stuck. So what did he do? He just kept giving it more power. And he got deeper and deeper and deeper. His power didn't work. He couldn't get out. So you can't get out of the Holocaust unless you discover it's Izzys Fire. You see, Izzys Fire is the flame of life itself that grows on death. It's like fire. We love to watch fire. We love to watch flames. Why? It's a metaphor for this mystery. Logs, wood, is form, is the world. World is made out of logs and wood and stuff. Material, matter, atoms, stuff, things, form. That's what life is made out of. In mythology, this is called the mother. The mother is the mother of form, the goddess of form. She creates form, you see. So what is this fire? Well, the fire is different from the form, but without the form, you can't have the fire. If you take away the wood, there's no fire. So the fire flames on form. It burns form up and gives light. What is light? Awareness. What is light? Spirit. What is light? If you want to go religious, Christ. You see. So the resurrection is the flame, and it lives on the burning of the crucifixion, the wood of the cross. I like to cross the bridges here. So, Izzy's Fire is the awakening of the realization that life is one, and for life to be one, it has to include death. Life and death are one. But they're still different. I'm not saying go shoot yourself now because that's life. No. Avoid death. Go to the doctor. Don't step out in the street. That's practical. But at the same time, there is two, life and death, you and the world, you and form, this and that. There's two, knowing, being. I know it, two. I know it, that's two. And yet there is one that holds the two. That's Izzy's Fire. The awareness that holds the two, but the two is ambiguous. It depends on how you look at it. It's a, well, I don't have a coin here. I need to put a coin here. But if this were heads and tails, you see, that's one coin, but our perception sees one or the other. You see, perception does this, two. But the reality of it is that it's one. There can't be two realities. One has no second. That's the definition of God. God is the one without a second. But as soon as you make God into an object of thought, a form, now it's two. Now it's God and not God. Two, you see. So this one cannot be experienced as form because experience is two. You are the experiencer of form. That's two. But the one includes you and the experience. So you can't experience the one. But you can surrender your investment in two, and the one rises up as you through your action, not through who you are, because who you are is going to be two, you and the world. But when you surrender to the one and you discover Izzy's Fire, you are life in the Holocaust. You are life in death. You see, since all form is dying, but the one is the life that includes the death. You see, the fire never goes out. If this, literally, it can blow out here, but then somebody else has fire, so there's always fire. And you just need a transmission to stick a match and you're lit up again. So when you lose your fire, your Izzy's Fire, you want to get a transmission from some other Izzy's Fire and you light up again. That's called insight. In Zen, it's called Satori. Or resurrection, or revelation, you see. It's the lighting of your Izzy's Fire. It's the lighting of your light. You see, that is transcendent of form. See, like awareness that holds all form, you see. But it's no thing. And that's our true nature. So this Izzy's Fire, as you can see, has been burning in me all day. And the discovery, basically, is something that we all have to come upon. You can't discover Izzy's Fire by effort, by searching, by manipulation, by digging, by looking for, and all that, you see, because all that's in form, all that's in time. Izzy's Fire is timeless. So Izzy's Fire grabs you, lights you up when you surrender, when you give up trying to separate life from death, when you give up the struggle of trying to obtain comfort in the good, you see, and not have the bad, you see. So the whole is good/bad. It's beyond morality. Not to say can't give up morality, but morality becomes a Groundhog Day, a tape loop of suffering, when we are not aware of or have no reference to the whole that contains the good and the bad, you see. So when we don't have that Izzys Fire, we get into an eternal warfare with the other. So without Izzys Fire, we end up with me being good and you being bad, me being Republican, you being Democrat, and we're constantly at war. Me trying to make music by getting rid of you. I can't make any music. Why? I got rid of my enemy. So Jesus says, love your enemy. Right? Because it's all you. It's all the Father. Turn your cheek. Make some music. Thanks for dropping in.